Hi everyone, welcome to this video in which we would like to share a tip to best execute your digital marketing campaign. Today's tip will be about the importance of developing a multi-channel marketing strategy. As a quick reminder, what we mean by channel is the means that you will use to spread a message. For example, if you use a billboard to advertise a real estate project in the street, the billboard becomes a channel. If you're doing Facebook ads or Google ads, these are other channels, and we'll see that we have both online channels and offline channels, as we'll see later. The risk of not having a multi-channel are the following. First of all, if you have very few channels, you will not be able to fully calculate the return on investment of your campaign. Meaning that if you only use a billboard to advertise a real estate project, for example, then you will know how much you spend in the billboard, and you will see how many prospects you get. But first of all, you might not be able to identify which one come from the billboard and which one come from another region. So hence the importance of having really as many channels as possible so that you can not only track them, but also compare the return on each respective channel. And next one is, how can you make sure that you touch the right audience? And here we mean that whenever you launch a campaign, so obviously the first step will be to define your audience, a targeted audience. And you will see that within your audience, some subcategories or subgroup of this audience will react better to one channel versus another. Let's say that you advertising a real estate project for a young audience. Some people might be more reactive on the Facebook ads versus, for example, the Google display ads. That's an example. So in order to make sure you target really the right audience and that you reach all the subcategories, make sure that you diversify the use of different channels as well. And third of all, what we want to see is how can you really use the full power? And by full power, it's how can you empower yourself to optimize the channel while it's running. So if you have very few channels, we saw that you might not have enough data to calculate in an accurate manner the return on investment, but also you might not be able to make the right changes, the right modification in order to optimize the return. Whereas if you have different channels being used, then you can see which one are more efficient than the others, and then you can allocate more budget in the ones that have a higher return, or eventually cancel some that are not working for XYZ reason. Now, let's take the example of a campaign that will be launched with only, let's say, two channels to begin with. We'll call it the core campaign, where there is online channel with social media, and then we have one channel which is offline, which will be the billboard, for example. So these two channels have one objective, is to generate traffic to the website of the real estate project that you're trying to advertise. The social media will create what we call social traffic, and then the billboard will generate direct traffic where people just copy paste or just type the URL directly and they land on the website. So here you have two sources of traffic, and the traffic that is called direct, you cannot track it because you don't know who has been exposed to the billboard and eventually ended up landing on your website. So these are again already the channels that we've mentioned before. Now, what we want to do is, how can you turn this channel, this core campaign, into a multi-channel campaign? So on the online side, what you will do, you will eventually invest into having a SEO-friendly website. So here we're not talking about going the full SEO bulletproof website. Again, this real estate project, they're not here to last forever. So you just want a SEO-friendly website so that the website will not be completely disregarded by Google algorithm. Then on top of it, you will do a campaign of ads, for example, on Google display, Google ads, or Facebook ads. So that will generate extra traffic on your website, the traffic for which you would have paid. And on the offline side as well, you might eventually have a flyer or organize an event that will also increase the amount of direct traffic you will get from it. So these are the two categories, both online and offline channels that you can have. And obviously, the sole purpose is to create traffic, to create awareness, and to have prospects that will land on your website. Once they get there, the objective is to get some data, an email address from them so that the brokers can start working with it. Now, from the offline side, some people will be calling or emailing directly the brokerage team. So here it's more a question of how can you make sure you track the return here. So we'll see in other video which solution we have to track the offline efforts. So what can you do so that you know that this person calling the broker got the number from the flyer or from the billboard or when he was at the event. So there are some solutions that we'll present you there in another video. Now for the people that get on the website, there are three alternatives. Either they get the email address or, for example, they're interested in the project, but for any reason, they just don't come back on the website. So the prospect that are interested, but they leave the website and they will not come back. So what you want to do with those prospects, you want to retarget them with remarketing campaign until they evolve and become a qualified prospect that will eventually share his email address. And the third category will be the people that will be lost, that will not be interested. So these are prospects that just will be lost. So that's a global picture of really the different channels we recommend to implement in your real estate digital marketing campaign. And in a nutshell, again, bear in mind that the advantage is, first of all, make sure that you find the best combination, both online and offline, depending on the project features, obviously, location, the targeted audience, and the budget that is available, just to increase your conversion rate. So the more channels you use, the more chances you have to reach conversion from your prospects. Second of all is ensure that you have a diversification of channels to reach as many groups within the targeted audience. So that's also a question of dynamics, that some part of the targeted audience react differently to some channels. So make sure you have as many as possible so that you put all the chance in your side. And third of all is distribute your budget across the marketing channels to maximize the total outcome and to make sure you optimize your return on investment. So once you're able to track, once you have different channels, you're able to see which one are working best, both in the online and offline categories. So it helps you to make some decision with regards to budget allocation and in that way optimizing your return on investment. So these are the 3 points we wanted to share with you for this first tip of developing a multi-channel marketing strategy. Thank you very much and see you in the next video.